9. The second map inside of Black Ops 4 is often considered a top 10 zombies map among many zombies fans. Well, what do I think? Why do I even need to ask? You know my hand, so I may as well say it. I think 9 is overrated. However, before you kill me, at least allow me to explain myself. Starting us out, as always, is the pros section of these videos, because I like talking about things I like about a map before I talk about things I don't like. So leading us off in the pro section is the aesthetic itself. I really dig the aesthetic on this map. The aesthetic is great. It's a gladiator arena set way back in the past where you have an entire cult rooting against or for you depending on how you perform. It has a bunch of mythology behind it with all the god statues. When you spawn into this map, you spawn in a cage and you have to run out. It's exactly like old Roman Colosseum battles. This map's immersion is second to none, and one of the reasons a lot of people like this map, and I will say it, I think this map's aesthetic is fantastic. Its immersion is never broken. It's full steam ahead through the entire playthrough. And I am definitely not taking that away from this map. This map's aesthetic hits it on the head. Plus, the Chaos Crew having unique outfits in this map really helps a lot. Moving on from the aesthetic though, we have something else really simple about this map, and it's its layout. It's a very simple map. It has the one main giant area, and then it splits off into 4 areas that go to a bottom central area. The only problem I have is the lack of fast travels, but this map is so small that I still think it works out perfectly even without fast travels. Something else fantastic about this map is the shield. The shield actually returns from Voyage, and it has its own unique style again. In functionality, it behaves very similarly to the ballistic shield, where you can ADS and then you can shoot a bunch of bullets. However, these bullets, you shoot in sets of 30, and they absolutely tear through, spoiler alert, the mini-boss zombies, the zombies, and various other enemies on this map. But that's not all, as if you don't ADS and you just press the shoot button, it becomes a melee weapon, and killing 9 zombies allows the thing to be caught on fire. Not only does it look sick as hell, it can one-shot a bunch of zombies. However, the problem is, when you use the melee, it damages your shield. But with Black Ops 4, you can repair your shield, which is always nice. This thing is one of my favorite parts of this map, and it can also be upgraded too, albeit it's very annoying to upgrade. Something not so annoying, though, is the new mini-boss zombies on this map. We have gladiators and destroyers. The gladiators are pretty much just souped-up zombies that can lunge at you and jab you with hand blades. These guys are very difficult to kill because they also have armor on. The destroyers are very similar in the fact that they also have a ranged attack. However, their ranged attack is they actually throw a battle axe at you, and these guys have a lot more health and are a little less common. But destroying chunks of their armor allows these guys to be taken out very quickly. They all have their weaknesses. The gladiators can be shot in the head. The destroyers can have their arms shot off. These bosses are very well designed in my opinion, following in line of course with the Blightfather and Catalyst. It should also be noted that there's not as many catalysts on this map too. Another great mechanic that doesn't return anywhere else at all in zombies is the crowd affinity. Crowd affinity is exactly what it sounds like. The crowd can either like you or hate you, further helping with the immersion of this map. If you perform super well killing zombies and avoiding damage, something that'll end up happening is the thumb in the bottom left corner of your screen will start glowing green and sparking. When this happens, when you walk to the center arena, the crowd will actually throw you bonuses, insta-kills, max ammos, fire sales, bonus points. They can throw you a bunch of stuff to help you out, and it motivates you to want to kill it out there on the battlefield, to snag as many of these rewards as possible. Something else you want to be snagging is the parts for the acid trap. The acid trap is a new buildable on this map that's very similar to the one on Mob of the Dead, however its range is a lot shorter. You just gotta grab 3 parts, which all have the same spawn location every single game, by the way. Yeah, these don't have random part spawning, which is really nice. Picking up 3 parts and then building the acid trap, you can choose where you want to build it, by the way, which is a really cool addition. It works just as well as you think it would, and it's always a welcome addition, especially considering you can choose where to build it. Something else you can choose to do is this map's Easter egg, which once again, this is going to be a BO4 standard. You can do it solo, thank goodness. The Easter egg steps on this map are pretty simple for the most part, so let's hop right into it. So the first thing you want to do is open Pack-a-Punch. Just kill the 4 champions and then put their heads on the spikes. The next step is to get your specialist weapon and then go to the Pack-a-Punch room. In 12 very obscure locations, you'll see a skull with a symbol on it. This step is absolutely terrible and there's no excuse for how bad it is. There is no radar telling you where the skull is or even giving you hints. It's once again just like Voyage's clock step to make this Easter egg take longer to solve. Anyway though, after you find the skull, you need to get your specialist out and it'll fall off the wall. Pick it up and then run out to the flooded crypt steps and place it in this grinder right here. The next thing you're going to do is get the Wonder Weapon. So the Wonder Weapon, like Voyage, can actually be obtained for free, doing a very simple quest with getting good crowd affinity. But the best way to get this thing is just from the box, because I feel like the rates on this map for the Wonder Weapon are very high. It's not very hard to get this Wonder Weapon at all. So when you actually get the Wonder Weapon, you need to actually shoot the grind to replace the skull in. Shooting it about 3 times will turn the skull into bone mesh, and then you got to pick that up. The next thing you need to do is actually get bad crowd affinity. The way you can do this easily is in the spawn room. When the fire starts spewing from the ground, yes, that's a feature, just run through it a bit until the thumb that was normally green turns red and thumbs down. Eventually, the crowd will throw literal fecal matter at you when you pick it up. I don't understand this step, but it exists, so let's just roll with it. After you pick up the fecal matter, you're going to need to get a gladiator to destroy this piece of wood on this barricade right here. After that happened, once again, there's no guaranteed way to spawn these in, but they're very common, so it's not a big deal. Pick up the piece of wood and then go down to the bottom of the Odin Tower. Place this piece of wood over this burning cauldron here and wait about 2 rounds. After 2 rounds pass, pick it back up, it'll be burned. Then go to the bottom of the Zeus Tower and then place all the materials in this bowl here and wait another 2 rounds. After this happens, it'll start glowing green. You pick it up and go to Danu's Tower. Go to the bottom floor and then place the material on the ground here. What you're going to end up wanting to do now is when you place it down, you need to go through 2 more rounds again. Starting to notice a pattern here. What'll end up happening now is you need to get the firebomb AAT on your gun and then kill a zombie with the AAT over the glowing material you place down. After that happens, a crack will form in the ground and you need to get your specialist out and then get some kills and jump. After that happens, you'll be teleported to a secret place on the map that you cannot normally access. This place is really cool. I really like the whole mirror reality type of atmosphere this area has. It's really cool. Anyway though, you're going to need to shoot these 3 spores around this part of this map. Shooting the spore with the shield is the best way to get this step done. After you do that, we're going to end up needing to do next. Look around the map for 4 bull symbols. This step is kind of irritating because there's 10 locations, but after you find all 4, you're going to need to shoot it with your shield. After you do that, some gladiators will spawn. There's a very game-breaking glitch here that can happen if you kill the gladiators too fast. If you kill them too fast, your game will end up having to restart because you glitched the game, because the game can't handle when you kill multiple of these at the same time, because of the fact they do a special animation when they're killed. Kill these 4 gladiators one at a time, then head over to the Ra room. What you're going to end up needing to do is interact with the statue here. What's going to end up happening is Ra's going to shoot the Scepter of Ra at the statue, and then 4 symbols are going to show up on this podium. When those 4 symbols show up, these are actually symbols representing the various enemies on this map. How do you know which symbol represents which enemy? Well, you don't. You need to use a guide or trial and error. Once again, absolutely terrible. Not only do they display these in order, but you need to kill the zombies in order. And there's a huge issue here because you can get napalm zombies. And napalm zombies suicide when you get too close. They can even kill other zombies if I'm not mistaken. So this step is pretty much just resetting until you get good RNG with the enemies you need to kill. Because some enemies will get in the way. Water catalysts on this step are a nightmare. Blight fathers are a nightmare. This step is terrible. What accentuates this step being terrible is the fact after you do it once, you gotta do it again because of padding. Anyway though, let's move on. After you do that, what you're going to end up needing to do is go to the podium where you would normally pick up one of the pieces for the acid trap and interact with it. You'll be sent to the bottom of the map where you'll see 4 screws will be outside the map that you'll need to shoot. Trying to leave this area during this time will not work, but after you shoot the 4 very obscure screws outside the map, what will end up happening is the barriers will open and you can actually leave, and then you need to go back to the top of the map. Before you go though, make sure you get the kilowatt attachment for your AAT. After you do that, when you go back to the top of the map, you'll see some 4 poles outside the map. Killing zombies with kilowatt here will charge the poles. You'll pretty much need to do this over the course of about 3 rounds. Killing boss zombies fill these up faster. After you fill up all 4 charges of the poles, you need to interact with one of the challenge boards, and then this will start a really cool step actually, where you actually get infinite specialists. The map's aesthetic will change entirely, and you'll need to kill a bunch of gladiators and destroyers and tigers with an infinite specialist. This step is awesome. Not only of course does the map change, but it's really challenging and fun, and I wish the rest of the Easter egg was like this. After hopefully not too much trouble in a kind of a mini boss fight similar to Revelations, what you're going to end up needing to do next is get the Death of Orion again. Thankfully you would have had it for an earlier step, so you probably wouldn't have gotten rid of it. What you're going to need to do, I believe, is pack-a-punch it and then go down to the bottom of the map. When you're down to the bottom of the map, you'll notice these symbols here. You need to shoot these in a very specific order in order to hit 3 symbols at the same time. This is an absolutely terrible step. If you don't know the exact places to shoot, once again, it's trial and error unless you use a guide. So you need need to shoot them in very specific locations, and even then those specific locations are extremely sensitive and don't work a lot of the time. It's pretty much just RNG, and if you run out of ammo, you're completely out of luck and you need to get a max ammo. Something that should be noted though is boss rounds on this map are a lot more common. It's every 3 rounds you will get a boss round starting from round 10 if I'm not mistaken. And boss rounds consist of tigers, gladiators, and destroyers. Hopefully you don't take too long on this step, but it's not your fault if the game decides, oh, you can't hit these symbols correctly even though you're shooting it in the correct location even with a guide. Hopefully that step didn't give you too much trouble because we have one more step before the boss fight. So what you're going to need to do is go to the room where you built the shield and then look at this floodgate in the middle of the room. Interact with that and then get your specialist down and then a lockdown will start. What you just need to do here is survive through 3 waves of enemies. You'll pretty much be fighting catalysts, tigers, normal zombies, and blightfathers. As long as you play carefully and use your shield when you need it to get some ammo, max ammos will spawn about halfway through. Those steps shouldn't be too difficult, and overall this is a pretty good step. Anyway though, after hopefully not too much trouble, you're actually on the boss fight. One thing you'll want to get though is probably the Mozu or the Helium Salvo, one of the two. You don't need either of these, but they're really recommended for the boss fight. After you get set up though, head over to the spawn room and then go through the portal, which is now behind the second gate, opposite of where you spawned. Going through this portal will teleport you across the entire map on a secret section that we have not seen before. This is a huge open arena, and if you look over, you'll see a cage open and then a bunch of boss zombies are going to run out. This is the first phase of the boss fight. You'll be needing to defeat a bunch of the mini boss enemies gauntlet style until the actual boss fight begins on phase 2. After defeating all the mini bosses, a giant elephant will emerge from the cage, and what's going to happen here, you will notice on top of the elephant you'll see some zombies and gladiators. These guys will throw spears at you. These spears will hit you for about half your health, so make sure to take cover. In the middle of the map there'll be a giant statue where you can actually hide around from the elephant. This boss fight is very hard if you don't know what you're doing. However, what you really need to do is just avoid the elephant. The elephant doesn't have very many attacks. It's mainly the zombies on the elephant that make this boss fight really difficult if you're not being careful. However, all you really need to do here is to shoot the elephant with your shield until the elephant's armor breaks. The Helium Salvo works great for this too. When the armor breaks for the elephant will actually gain a 1-hit KO attack where the elephant will charge at you and launch you into the sky, downing you instantly. This is very dangerous if you don't have self-revive. It should be noted though that the challenges in the beginning give you an extra self-revive, so make sure to take advantage of that. Anyway though, after learning all the elephant's attack, you will notice the Prima Materia glowing spot on the elephant's forehead. What you need to do is shoot that. The Mozu will one-shot this thing no matter what if it has its op mod on it. So that's why I recommended you bring the Mozu to this boss fight. However, the Helium Salvo works great, or any just normal bullet gun, but the Mozu will give you the easiest time here. After you do this, the giant Prima Materia ball will actually go to the second cage, revealing another elephant. This boss fight, man, it's honestly really cool, and once again, I was talking about the immersion, it really keeps you invested. The music is bopping, you can actually see the zombies playing the drums. This map's atmosphere just hits the nail on the head so hard, man, and I definitely can understand why so many people love the atmosphere of this map, including myself. Anyway though, the second cage will eventually open, revealing another elephant. The elephant has the same exact attacks pretty much, but I believe this elephant, when its armor is broken, gains a one-shot KO attack, so make sure to keep your guard up. However, following the same strategy for the first elephant here will net you the same result, and then the elephant will fall and the boss fight will be complete, commencing a very confusing outro cutscene. I'm not going to comment too much on it, but of course it just sets up Ancient Evil. It should also be noted, starting from Revelations, Easter eggs now will also always end your game. No matter what, the game will always end. I'm not sure how I feel about this, as I'm kind of split down the middle. All in all though, a very solid Easter egg with some absolutely terrible steps. The steps that are good are really good. The boss fights are really good. I honestly don't mind the step where you have to burn rounds, because it's mainly just killing a lot of zombies. I think this Easter egg holds its own pretty decently. It's not my favorite by any means, but you can do it really, really fast. I believe my fastest time on this Easter egg is about 1 hour and 20 minutes, which I feel like for me is pretty good. I really do like this Easter egg. It's a great one to speed run. However, that's where my pros list ends, and now we're talking about the things I don't like about this map. Of course, I was talking about the terrible Easter egg steps. The raw step you need to do twice with the enemy symbols, and the absolutely bullshit where you need to kill them in order. There is no excuse to how bad the step is, and every time I play this Easter egg, I dread this step every single time. just like the skull step. I hate the skull step in the beginning because there's one time it took me 20 minutes to find the skull. 20 minutes to find a stupid skull. And there's glitches to where it won't even spawn in too, which is always really nice. And of course there's a gladiator glitch, where if you kill the gladiators too fast after the bull symbol step, you will end up breaking your game and you'll have to restart because they never fixed this bug. And then of course the death of Orion step at the end of the Easter egg is also terrible. This Easter egg, while good, is full of some absolutely awful steps that make me hate playing this map's Easter egg, and it really kills the fun for me. Something else that kills the fun for me is the wonder weapon itself, the death of Orion. By far my least favorite wonder weapon in this game. I don't know what they were thinking with this thing. I'll summarize it for you. It's a discount wonder waff. That's all it is, and that's all it ever will be. It fires extremely slow, and while the charge shot does damage zombies like the wonder waff, you can finish every single Black Ops 4 Easter egg in the amount of time it takes to kill one zombie. And yes, I know there's a glitch where you can rapid fire spam it, but that's a glitch. And even then, the rapid fire spam hardly even works on some of the enemies, and you burn through ammo so fast. The design is stupid as well. It's literally a scorpion. It's not even a gun. It's an alive scorpion. I hate the design of this thing. I hate this gun. I never like using it. I always get rid of it after the death of Orion step. I just don't like this wonder weapon. I also don't like the tigers on this map. These are literally hellhounds on steroids, and steroids they are on, especially considering there's boss rounds for these guys. They spawn in during the boss fight. They spawn in during a lot of Easter egg steps. It's literally impossible to avoid their jump because the tracking on it is so broken. You go down so many times unfairly through these guys. Thankfully, there's extra self-revives on this map, but oh my goodness, it does not help the case of the tigers, as that's just a band-aid solution at best. And my last point is, I just don't think this map was that fun to play, personally. There's just not a lot of content on this map. There's the upgradable shield, which is just impossible to get. There's a free perk Easter egg, which you need Wraithfires for, by the way, and that's literally all there is for side content. There is nothing to do on this map. I just don't find this map fun to play. The wonder weapon seriously brings this map down, as whenever I play a map, I always want to use a fancy new wonder weapon. Except on this map, it's absolutely terrible. I don't understand what they were thinking by making this thing so underpowered. I may just not know how to use this damn thing, and if that's true, feel free to let me know. But I guarantee you, I do know how to use this thing, and it does not impress me in the slightest. Just like the tigers, some of these absolutely terrible Easter egg steps, and all of that just adds up into the fact that I just don't like playing this map. It's just not a fun map to play. I think it's because it's also part of Chaos, which is just not that interesting in the grand scheme of things. It just really hurts this map, and when I play maps, I love playing the Easter eggs, and I love listening to the story. I love using awesome wonder weapons. None of that is on here. This map is literal boredom to a T. The wonder weapon sucks, the story is uninteresting, the Easter egg is mediocre. It has all the recipes for a shit zombies map, and while I don't think it is shit because it does have a lot of redeeming qualities, like the aesthetic is amazing, I really do like the immersion, the shield, the boss zombies, the challenges, the acid trap, the crowd efficiency, it's a ballin' ass Easter egg stuff like the mini boss fight. It's just not enough to make this map really that good in my opinion. It falls in the same line as Voyage. It's perfectly mediocre, which is okay, but I see people calling this the top 10 zombies map of all time, and I just cannot see it. But I just feel like this map was just massively overhyped. It is massively overhyped, and I just feel like this map needs to get knocked down a peg, sent to more of an average category. If you like this map though, feel free to let me know. All in all though, it's just a mediocre map in my opinion. But it does have its redeeming qualities that definitely make it stand out, and it is unique, but that's about it. Just mediocre at best.